Are we live?
We're live.
Hey, it's Chris, Homestead the Hard Way. And today we're going to talk about the produce business. We've branched out into doing produce. We've always tended big gardens and try to keep neighborhood fed. But now that my health's bad and I can't really run the shop and we've got to have some money, I mean, we're not to the point that we can't retire. We don't have anything to retire on, to be honest with you. But we're trying to really make this little farm profitable. And I've got some advice for you, some things that we already knew, things I learned when my daddy did the produce, and things we're kind of learning the hard way. But I can tell you how to make tens of dollars growing turnips. Tens of dollars now. I'll be honest with you. Anybody tells you they're making millions of dollars doing this stuff is, no, I don't know. Either hiding a liquor still or a dope farm or something. But anyway, diversification is going to be the first thing you're going to have to do if you want to really make it. Like us, we sell chicks, we sell eggs, we have the pigs. Pigs are actually doing really good for us right now. We have every bit of produce we can cram in this little 3.5 acres I got right here to do it. While we're on the subject of that, I want you to understand something. An acre is 70 yards by 70 yards square. A lot of people don't think they've got a whole lot more than they've got. If you've got 2 acres, but you've got a house, a shop, dog pits, chicken pens, whatever, driveways, a pump house, you don't have 2 acres of garden. You can't, or you don't have an acre of garden. Like us, our lot for the house goes to the center of the road. So it's an acre lot, but right off the bat, you've got the state right away you can't use. All the way to the center of the road, which is a lot. You know, then we've got a wide shoulder. Driveways take up room. This trailer lot back here, the driveway to it takes up as much room as where I've got my potatoes planted in. So we've got 6 acres total, but we only have 3.5 acres that's tendable. Plus just a small cow lot that we're still using. So, but we've got a 1/2 acre of hogs, we've got a shop, we've got barns, we've got chicken coops. But it only leaves us 3.5 acres we can actually put under a plow. And that's enough to work you to death for 2 old 1950s farm tractors. But the things you need to know is you're going to have to rotate crops. You're going to have to keep, when I say rotate, I'm not talking about not grow the same thing in the same place all the time, which you don't need to do that either. But what I'm talking about is you're going to have to keep a crop coming off all the time. So you're going to have to plant your early spring stuff as soon as you can get it out. You need to plant your summer stuff as soon as you get it out. You need to plant your fall stuff. And something else we've run into that takes up land is if you're going to have customers come to the field, you got to have places for them to drive. You got to have places for them to turn around. People can't drive. You can't, I mean, a spot you might get a Mack truck through, they can't get a Honda Civic through. So you got to give them plenty of room, plenty of turnaround spots. And she'll show you our gate and the water spigot down here. I don't know if you noticed that gate's all jacked up and cattywampus, but they've backed into that gate 3 times. They've backed over that water. We put those barrels over the water spigot to keep them from freezing. There's a tripod, a post in there with a water spigot in the middle. It's the only thing saved either. They'd be back slam over it. You got to have driveways. You've got to accommodate your customers. But like I said, you've got to keep something coming off all the time. You're not going to make it. You can't say, well, I'm going to grow sweet corn, or I'm going to grow potatoes, or I'm going to grow you-pick peas and beans. You've got to eat the rest of the year too. You've got to have income for the rest of the year. Take your soil samples, something we can show you here. Take your soil samples, they're important. If you look on this side, we've been tending it 3 years now. And I've got the amendments about right. I've got the right amount of lime. Everything's about right here. And she'll show you the cow pasture we just broke up this past year. We haven't put a crop on it yet, but you should be able to see an obvious difference in that cover crop. It's planted the same day, same seed. That's from lack of lime. This heavy, dark land is a godsend. It's wonderful. A lot of these collars don't have any fertilizer to them. There's very little of these turnips. And it'll make a crop. But it needs lime, and you need to get your soil test done and do what it takes. That's important. If your goal is production, you need to get the soil test done. You need to do what it takes. We're limited chemical use, very limited chemical use. We do use some bag fertilizer, and we do use some pesticides. The pesticides we use are actually labeled organic, except one. The only pesticide we use that isn't labeled organic is what we had to put on the sweet corn to keep the stink bugs out of it. And something else I'm gonna cover right quick to get a lot of questions about. And something I need you to remember. It's kind of like these free-range chickens. When I was a youngin', you could let your chickens run loose because everybody carried a shotgun in the seat of their truck, and they didn't suffer a chicken hawk, a fox, a possum, stray dog, stray cat, any of that to live. There used to be hawk traps set on the top of every fence post for miles. A hawk couldn't land on a fence post, he was done. And I've got some hawk traps up there in the barn. We don't set them anymore, but I kept them for nostalgia. They're a little foot trap. It's got one little leaf spring under it. I mean, they're real weak. And it's just right to put on top of a post, sits right on top of a fence post. They killed all that stuff. It won't around. There's more foxes and raccoons and stuff like that now than there's ever been. Plus, here we've got coyotes. So, you can't do stuff your granddaddy used to do. You got new problems. He didn't have to worry about all that mess. Him and all the old folks in the neighborhood get stuff killed. There's bugs they didn't have to worry about. They didn't have to worry about stink bugs. A little 7 dust would pretty much take care of everything they were dealing with. A good example is pumpkins. We were trying to grow pumpkins this year, in which we grew a little crop of pumpkins. And they did okay. They didn't do great. There's too much competition. You get a pumpkin anywhere. We did pretty good with cushaw. Something we've never grown before, didn't know what it was. One of our viewers came down and brought us some cushaw seeds, and we set them out, and apparently we were one of the few people that had them, and people eat them. They're not just decoration. We did really good with cushaw. We sold a lot of cushaw. Hey, you know who brought me the seeds? And I do thank you. I really do appreciate it. But you're going to have to try to figure out some outside the box things and stuff that you wouldn't normally do. You know, we've told you before, we can't sell eggs, we sell chicks. But we found out that now, since we've got enough stuff to draw people here, we're selling honey, we're selling pecans, we're selling produce, we're selling eggs, some other value-added products. And if you've got enough to draw people to you, you can sell more. I always told them sell stuff, I wasn't supposed to tell myself. But anyway, if you draw enough people here to buy enough different things, you can sell a wider variety of things. If you get them here to buy the pecans, you sell some honey. They see you got collars, especially heirloom cabbage collars. You might sell some collars. I found out that you don't pressure sell anybody. You just tell them you got it. You know, I've got some turnips down here. I've got some of the biggest turnips you ever seen in your life.
Yeah. They are that big.
Do what now?
I said, yep, they are that big.
Yeah, they're that big, but they ain't worth nothing. When they get that big, they're what they call pithy, mealy. I laugh myself to death sometimes. I look at Facebook and people putting this oversized produce up there. Ain't worth 5 cents. The seeds are too big. It's mealy, especially like squash and zucchini mess. But they think they've really done something. They let it get too big. A lot of people won't even pick it till it's past prime, you know. But to be diversified makes a big difference. Had a wide variety of stuff to sell people. I would say that might even extend into crafts, like having grapevine wreaths. We just trimmed a grapevine. I was thinking about, we ought to make a bunch of grapevine wreaths, but then we had to store them till next Christmas, and I don't know exactly how good the holiday stuff would sell. But the more you have to offer people, the more customers you'll draw. And something I'm a believer in, the first mosquito of the year. You see that, Joker?
Yeah,
it was 18 degrees 2 days ago. Had pigs freezing to death and everything else, but we already got a mosquito. What was I talking about?
Storing stuff for Christmas.
Oh yeah, I don't know about having over summer and everything. But the big point is the wider variety of products you can offer. I'm a firm believer that if somebody wants 4 items, 4 different things, say they want collards, they want turnips, they want rutabagas, they want mustard greens. Well, if Farmer Joe has collards and turnips, and Farmer Smith has mustard greens and collards, and I have all 4 items, they're gonna come to me. One-stop shop. And we had people drive in from what was it, an hour away?
Mm-hmm.
We had people come from an hour away. You know, they drove past, I don't know how many collard plants to get here, but we had everything they want.
Services as well.
Do what now?
Services as well.
Services.
Shucking corn, soaking corn.
Oh yeah, shucking, value added. Shucking, selling corn shut. Selling corn shut worked really good for us. We had people driving for 2 hours away to get the corn because we'd sell it shut.
Sorry, I moved the camera because I got bit in the face by a mosquito. Sorry.
Well, I told you he was here.
Well, he got me. I got him back.
Well, anyway, we figured up you can make $40 an hour shucking corn. I can't. Everybody can, but I can't. I can do it fast enough that we were making $40. You know, I was shucking it, don't putting it in the bag. But it's a little bit of work, and after about 3 or 4 days, you're kind of tired of doing it. Especially when you get a bunch of big orders. If somebody wants 2 dozen, that's fine. But if they want 1,000 ears shucked by lunchtime, they don't ever give you any warning. They call you at 9 o'clock in the morning, so they want to pick them up at 12 and them shut. But you know, sweet corn only lasts 3 weeks. So.
We had 300 dozen one time.
300 dozen.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe some of this stuff will help you a little bit. And I get emails every day, comments on YouTube videos every day thanking me for trying to be honest, trying to tell people how it really is. And I appreciate that. And I want you to know that I'm glad to help. We're not going to charge you 99 cents a minute to talk to you on the phone and tell you how to phone. We're just not going to do it. Y'all don't pay no attention to what's right on the side of that truck. I don't know if it's supposed to be in the YouTube video or not. But, okay, I'll tell you about that a little bit. I've had several viewers, because I do stuff I guess nobody else don't do. If people email me, I'll talk to them. If they're in a bind, I'll talk to them. If they've got something giving them problems, I'll try to help them. I fixed, I don't know how many tractors all over the country over the phone, and handled I don't know how much sick livestock over the phone, and tried to give people some ideas or information that might help them. And
I guess the truck's not supposed to be in the video.
We'll pause it, we'll let him get by. Alright, sorry about that. I don't think it was so much he didn't want to see what was right on the side of the truck because he didn't want to interrupt the video. We'll let him get by. But anyway, I mean, I really try to help people, and I had some of my viewers, if we talked to on the phone, they were telling me that such and such channel charges you 99 cents a minute to talk to you, and I don't know about that. I thought I didn't think you're supposed to do things like that. I thought you're supposed to try to help folks, but it turned into a whole big joke. We ain't gonna get into it. But anyhow, maybe what I told you helped you a little bit. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Our email address is homesteadandthehardway@gmail.com or something.
Mm-hmm.
And you can email me if you need to. But I want you to understand something. I do kind of get overwhelmed. It ain't unusual to have 40 a day. And I'm going to apologize for something else. I have people send me emails thanking me for what we've done to help them and telling me how much they appreciate it. But I have so many emails, and I apologize I've done this to you. I say, okay, I'll get back to them in a second. Let me answer these questions over here. And then I'm kind of overwhelmed and I don't answer you. And I'm sorry if you sent me email. If you took the time to send me an email thanking me for what I'm doing, I really do appreciate it. And I read it. But like I said, it's possible that instead of taking the time to answer it right then, I said, well, I'll get back to that one later, and I forgot you. Or couldn't find you. Because the other one, you know, my inbox is fairly confusing, you know. But I just want to thank everybody that's kind of subscribed to us and try to help us a little bit, and I'm glad I was able to help a lot of people. My health's not the best in the world. There's a distinct possibility one day there just ain't gonna be any more videos. I feel pretty good right now, but I've had some days this week that were pretty bad. And that's something else I'm gonna talk to you right quick about. You know, I'm at the point now that it's very obvious what I should have done different. Things that I should have done different. And I'm gonna start trying to include that in some of the videos. This small farm thing has kind of evolved over the years. We started out farming for a living. Well, then I had to go to town, get a job. I had to do this, I had to do that. And it kind of got knocked back to the, and I hate these terms. I want y'all to understand I hate these terms. It got knocked to the hobby farm homestead category. And we may have tried to raise a little something to sell. You know, I've talked to a lot of my viewers about this for a long time. There was no market for pigs. Pigs was just something we did because it was traditional. It was keeping this old line hog alive, trying to keep it from going extinct. We had 1 or 2 sows, 2 or 3 litters of pigs a year. Could not give pigs away. If I hadn't worked a job somewhere else or did something else to make a living, couldn't afford to feed them. There was no profit in it whatsoever. And then at some point in time, maybe a decade ago, I decided that we were going to try to make all this stuff into something. And it was going to maybe be our retirement plan. Or something to do when we retired. I don't know. However you want to look at it. So we started trying to make the pigs make money, put a lot of effort into that. And then we decided to start the produce business back up. Well, the first 2 or 3 years we had a produce, say 5, 6 years ago when we were trying to grow produce, we couldn't give it away. You could not give it away. You went to the farmer's market, there was too much competition. Even if you rode to a big town, you know, people always say, well, you got to be close to a big town and sell it in a big town. Even if we did that, all we were at was the gas money. Gas money and booth rental. You wouldn't sell enough. There was just too many people there. And everybody's got the same thing. If you've got a good crop of turnips, so does everybody else. If you got plenty of eggs, everybody else got plenty of eggs. The only time you can sell eggs is, you know, in a deep winter when they won't lay. So you'd have to put a light on your chickens on a timer, or go out there and unplug it, plug it up twice a day. You had to feed them high protein feed, keep them laying all winter. Well, that just burns your hens up. You know, if you had to have something nobody else had if you had any intention of selling anything, because the market's just flooded. Usually in a particular area, everybody's got the same stuff, same things grow good. There's no way you can get an edge. And we've told this before, and I'm gonna be honest with you, we tried being organic. We thought organic was gonna be the edge we need. So we did the NC certified organic thing and found out real quick that nobody will pay extra for organic. And then organic stuff never looks as good as commercially grown stuff. It never does. Aesthetics are everything. So you've got a worse looking product for twice the price, you're just not going to sell it. Americans, as a general rule, are so used to inexpensive food, even high quality inexpensive food. They're not accustomed to having to pay for anything. I don't know if it's still true or not, but I read somewhere one time that probably 40% of the world paid most of their income for food. Americans is like 10, 15%. And they're not going to do it. They'd rather have the phone, they'd rather have whatever, the coffee, whatever else they're buying than buy better food. There's a little niche market that's nowhere near us. There's not one anywhere near us. There may be a little niche market where you can raise a chicken out here, free range a chicken a little bit, and have $20 in him by the time you get through raising him, and pay $5 to have him slaughtered at a USDA facility and get $40 for him, or $50. But it's not here. Nobody's going to do it. We free range these chickens a little bit. We're particular about what we feed them. We have an egg that's honestly like the eggs you had back in the old days when everybody was doing this, and some of the old folks really like them. But we can't get People come up here and expect you to sell them cheaper than the grocery store. I've got more in them than what a dozen eggs brings at the grocery store right off the bat. I got more than that in them, but they expect you to sell them for $1 a dozen, stuff like that. Well, I'm not going to do that. So I finally made up my mind a few years ago that I was going to make money at it, or I was going to go to hog. If I can't sell something for at least make some profit, I'm just going to throw it in the hog. Or I'm going to give it to some older folks in the neighborhood that need it anyway. I'm going to give it to somebody that needs it, can't afford it. Or I'm going to give it to the hogs, but I'm not going to sell it cheap. I'm done with the pen hookers. I'm done with the people coming up here wanting to mess for nothing, so they go sit side of the road and resell it. A few weeks ago, I had a guy come up here wanting to buy collards by the road, which honestly, I didn't know that was a thing, that people sold them by the road. Well, then I got on Facebook Marketplace and figured out it is. But he wanted to buy them by the road at a third price. We were getting $3 a head for them, which is already probably cheap. But he wanted to buy them by the road at about $1 a head. And his game plan was to buy them from me, go sit 2 miles from my house side the road and resell them. So not only would I be losing money on my product, he was going to go be direct competition and go sit and sell them close to me. Nah, you can't do me like that. But anyway, I'm rambling. I think we covered most of what we wanted to cover. Probably some things we didn't want to cover. But if you leave your questions in the comments or email me, I'll try my best to help you. And we've had some other drawbacks. We lost a litter of pigs in the cold. We had some pigs getting pneumonia the other day from the changing weather. And before somebody says it, I know it's going to happen, being cold won't make you sick. Well, technically, being cold will not make you sick. Actually, getting cold will not give you an illness. But being cold will weaken your immune system and allow something to get hold of you that normally wouldn't. All them old folks said, you'll catch pneumonia if you go out there doing this mess. They knew what they were talking about. No, being cold will not give you pneumonia. But if you've got the bacteria in you and you get cold and stressed, you'll get sick. It's weakening your immune system, not the actual act of getting cold, but the fact that getting cold weakens your immune system. I hear that all the time, and I want to fall on the ground laughing. My grandma used to have old sayings that somebody stupid enough to starve to death with a yard full of chickens. And I think about that now, and we get on Facebook and read this mess, it goes through my mind 100 times a day. But anyway, if you need me, email me or ask in the comments. I really do appreciate everybody watching. And I want y'all to remember you can do this. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme in any way, shape, or fashion. And I can't get over the fact it was 19 degrees or 17 degrees night before last. And we already got mosquitoes again.
I'm getting eat up.
Yeah, they're bad. They don't bite me, but I see them. They just fly around my face. But you can do this stuff. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. I used to joke it was a go-broke-slow scheme, but we have managed to make a little money. And I don't know, I explained it to a friend of mine the other day, because we're going to have to investigate some USDA loans and grants and stuff, because we really need to spend about $5,000 or $10,000. We're really going to do this. And I want you to understand that too. I'm going to say this and let you go. We need to spend $5,000 or $10,000 to really be able to do this. Now, that's after taking this place over from my daddy. And he spent his whole life improving, and that I've spent the last 40 years improving. But what we're running into now is some of the money that was spent 20 years ago needs spending again. We need a new irrigation system. That old black pipe that's put in the ground, it's put in, it's busted. So we got to put a new irrigation system. The well is going dry. It's got to be pulled up and put back down deeper. We need a produce stand / feed making facility. So we're going to add on to some shit. We're going to tear some stuff down and rebuild. And I think that's something a lot of people don't ever tell you, is just because you spend a bunch of money today doing something, it's not permanent. You're going to have to do it again. What you're doing is going to change. You learn stuff. You find out things don't work. You got to go in a different direction. Like us with cows, I don't know, it wasn't that bad. I scrapped most stuff we did it with, but Once upon a time, I put a right good investment in building cow shelters and infrastructure for cows, and we had a small dairy here. Well, that never played out. When it finally started playing out, next thing they state came in there and shut us down because you can't sell raw milk. Be prepared for stuff like that. You know, be prepared for taking the effort, putting the effort in to get started doing something. It just doesn't work. There's no market where you're at. You can't build a market. You just be prepared for that. But you can do it all. You just need to know what you're really up against. Forget that doggone fairy tale that everybody tells you. Because you see all over YouTube. You know, I quit my job and started farming. You know, we've been doing it my whole life. We ain't never started with, shoot, what did we say the other day? 400 years here doing this mess. And we got most of the infrastructure already built. And something else I'm going to tell you, just point blank. We don't owe no money on none of this. There ain't never been no money owed on this here. Not for 100 years. And I borrowed a little money to fix my house at one time. We had a little bit of a house payment. But we started off with everything basically paid for. Property-wise. And then my old tractor's a mess. Most of them were drug out and fixed and bought for nothing. Of course, I can do that. I'm an equipment mechanic, so I can do that. Like my old Bobcat, I didn't get much of nothing for it. A friend of mine kind of helped me out with that. You know, he bought it and let me get it for what he paid for it. And I mean, it's ragged, but it's good enough for what I need to do. But we don't have a lot of money sunk in on this stuff, and we still have trouble. So people tell you, well, I'm living debt-free. They ain't got a clue. We got to get us here limed. I mean, it's telling you a fairy tale. You know, and if you go to ask them questions, well, did you do this, did you do that, did you do that, you'll find out real quick they ain't really doing the same thing. But maybe somebody will help you. Remember, you can do it. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme, but you won't ever do it thinking about it. And I'm going to do some more videos and talk about things I wish I had done different. We should be further along than we are. But I was always trying to do this without spending any money to do it. I knew it was low return. I knew it was high risk, low return, which is that's a bad deal right from the go. You know. And I never spent a bunch of money to be able to do any of it. I scrapped stuff up and kind of got started with nothing. And that's great, especially if you're on the homestead or anything and you're depending on a public job to pay for everything. And you don't need it really to make any income, maybe just breaking even on some of your stuff will be fine. That's a very good way to do it. But if you're planning on trying to make $30,000 or $40,000 a year off a small farm, whew, you're going to have to spend some money. You're going to have to. You ain't no getting out of it. You're going to have things you never thought about you going to have. Or something you think you've already got is going to quit working. That's kind of the boat we've been in here lately. You know, I thought we already had irrigation. I thought we already had good water. I thought we had all that covered. But nothing lasts forever. You know, my equipment was already wore out when I got it. You know, I'm dealing with a 53 and a 59 and a 60 model tractor. Well, they were wore out when I got them. And they're getting awful ragged now. 20 years of me using them on top of how bad they were when I got them. But anyway. Maybe that helps some. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you later.
Never plow a field?
Well, they've heard that 1,000 times. Just remember, you never plow a field with turn over in your mouth.